Hi everybody, welcome to another video. Tonight I wanted to talk about how the Jehovah's Witnesses keep, how one of the biggest tools that Jehovah's Witnesses use, and that's fear, and how they use fear to keep a lot of their members in. Now, there's a lot of aspects and facts and things to consider when it comes to a topic like this. I printed out one of my favorite sayings because I really loved it when I found it and I wanted to share it. And that is, and it says in it, you can't argue with slaves who don't recognize their chains. And you know what? Like, that is so true. When, for a lot of people that are still in Watchtower, I can know looking back, I could say it's definitely true for me. You're definitely not aware of the invisible chains and all the invisible bars. I mean, it's not really till you're on the outside that you can't see it, but then that's a lot of the trickery of how the Watchtower uses it to their advantage, because you just don't see it when you're inside, or it's very hard to see. Like all the stuff that they've used over the years, like 1914 was always a big one. That's the date that started, the start of the last days, and they've always used dates to try to predict the end, and they've always been wrong. Oh man. They're definitely a doomsday cult. I didn't start studying till into the year 2000, but I have heard that they used the end of the 20th century was another one. Everyone knows 1975, and in the 80s, and then at the end 2000. I was old enough, I was in my teenage years by Y2K. I kind of knew it was bullshit back then. I wasn't really too afraid. It was something that the minority of people took seriously, that that all the computers would stop working on January 1st 2000, and as we know, nothing happened. Everything was fine. But just one good example of how they're always using dates to how they like to jump on every disaster and dates, like natural world disaster or a very violent event in the world. And a perfect example was the 9/11, the September 11th 2001. That was one of the biggest events that I was old enough to experience so far in my life. I was 19. Yeah, I was 19 when that happened. And studying at that time. So I remember my Bible study teacher was, just pushing it on me that, see how close we are to the end. Armageddon is right around the corner. This could be it. I know at the time that had a lot to do with how they were able to use it to kind of push me into start preaching and going out, do the door-to-door work. And it's, and nowadays, do you know what it would be? You know what it definitely is nowadays? The COVID pandemic. Yeah, and it's, well, it is one of the biggest pandemics of our time, but it's really twisted. The way that Watchtower uses it, as another, oh, this is it, like, is this it? It's like constantly waiting, like keep the members in constant waiting. And this, I know the governing body has said, I think one of them was saying, this is the last days of the last of the last days, Like, wow, really? I they always have their members like working for so hard for their salvation. You gotta work for your salvation. You gotta earn your salvation. What I think of, just like keep you on that hamster wheel, keep you on the treadmill. Study and attend all the meetings, get out in service. You gotta reach that minimum 10 hours a month. Or the guilt that they push on their members, if you don't get out in service, you might be blood guilty when Armageddon comes because you weren't out there enough preaching, And as a lot of XJWs would know, there is a humongous list of do's and don'ts, and mostly don'ts. Oh man, just to scratch the surface, it's well, even from what I know, like I remember having a bunch of stuff I had to get rid of when I was studying. I look back, I shouldn't have let them push me around that much, but like for me it was a Holy Cross necklace that was a gift from a relative. The cross was made of a really nice wood, a dream catcher, some of the movies and books that I had at the time. No gambling. So like no lottery, no scratch tickets, no going to a casino, tarot cards, horoscopes, Christmas, Halloween, birthdays. And I know there's been a recent Caleb and Sophia video where Caleb is feeling very guilty about resisting the urge to eat a cupcake that was for a birthday celebration of a fellow student, and all the other kids around him are pressuring him and asking him why he won't eat it, and wow, like no heavy drinking, no partying. Oh, the list goes on. Every other religion is referred to as false religion. And, that create that mindset, they've all got it wrong. We're the only ones that got it right. You're only allowed to use and research in their literature, like for personal study, and only allowed on their website. Yeah, I remember I used to use those JW library CDs, like they would come out with one every year. I didn't really use it that much. I actually did wonder why the years, I believe they only went back to the year 2000 if you went on. Like you couldn't get any literature that was earlier than that. I did actually kind of wonder why. The odd time I would, if it was quiet enough and I knew I had a couple minutes alone, like before the meeting, I would go into the room in the Kingdom Hall where they, at least in mine, they had all the old literature, like old watchtowers and awakes. I'm sure they might have destroyed them all by now, but I would the odd time like go in and take out an old watchtower volume or awake and just kind of scan through it, because I was just had a curiosity for what the older literature was like. JW Broadcasting Channel. They're, you know, kind of their own version of YouTube now, like, now some would say, and oh, the videos on there, oh man, talk about propaganda, misleading, twisted, oh, every word. And you know how they encourage using mainly their own translation of the Bible. It's generally discouraged to use other translations. Gotta use theirs, but then the reason why is because they have it twisted, and they have it twisted to fit their own beliefs. That's what it comes down to, you know. Just, you know what JWs really don't realize is that you're being kept in a bubble, big time. You have very limited info and knowledge, and it really limits and chains up your ability to critically think. You know, another good example that comes to my head is members who are in don't really notice that on their website, in the news area, they generally only post good news, or if they're being persecuted somewhere. You would not find anything about the Australian Royal Commission or them losing a court case. They definitely filter out what they don't want their members to know. It's like they're not giving you the whole story, and that's a problem. You know, I thought another good example is how the younger generations are raised in this religion. You know what? It's a shame. It's a shame, you know, like, too bad for Watchtower, because pre-internet, it was so much easier to hide information and keep information from their members. But now, that's becoming near impossible for them to do with the age of the internet, and especially social media. Yeah. I found the other day, I came across one of their website articles that they just released, and the title of it is JWs announce new antivirus software that automatically blocks apostate websites. You know, it brings to my mind right away, this isn't protecting members. You gotta think deep, like, you really gotta stop and think deeper than that. What are they so afraid of? Why a drastic measure like this? You know, I like to keep saying, if you really have the truth, then apostate information should not be so intimidating. You shouldn't feel the need to try to block it and keep it hidden. It's like, I feel like a lot of JWs would, like, if they were to have debates with real Christians, they would fail. The JWs would lose so badly. But another good example that I've really thought of too is keeping, particularly for younger members, you know, keeping you so over sheltered. And in my head, I would say it's over sheltering, over protecting of them, you know, just telling them and teaching them that the outside world is nothing but bad and is just full of evil, untrustworthy, you know, perversive, unclean people. You know, Satan's out to get you. You gotta keep yourself separate from the world. which is combined with the fact that social interactions are very limited outside of the home. Like, there's a good number of them that are homeschooled. And like, I mean, like, even pre-pandemic times, like, a lot were homeschooled, so they're missing out on a lot of, I would say you're missing out on a lot of experiences that you should be having, that you should go through, like wisdom and learning, and it comes with experience. And when you're isolated and kept at home a lot and limited interactions, you're taking that away. You know, I think what happens in a lot of cases is that all that strictness, all that control, and that's put on, and that it can be put on from such a young age, I think it's very harmful, because you're stopping the personality, the individual personality, from really blossoming. And I think another even just bigger problem is you're really blurring and altering their perception of reality to a more obscure reality. Because you know what, you gotta face it, you're not telling them what the world is really like. I mean, like JW parents. And I think so I think in a way, like, you're denying them a decent life by not, you know, I think one good example is what the general discouragement of getting higher education after high school. You know, and just when they go out in the field ministry, like, they have this superiority complex. You know, like we're special. Like, they may like they're trained to act and talk very politely and very persuasive and very positively, but no, they don't know, they definitely have this, like, we're special attitude at the doors, you know? Only we have the truth, and you need to join us or you're gonna die at Armageddon. You know, it doesn't matter what religion you're in now or what you believe now, you're wrong. You need to join us. You know, and I think it's no wonder that more and more people don't even answer the door now. As were my experiences up to the point where I left. I had noticed more people would just, at least in my neighborhood, more and more people would just not even answer the door. Like, ignore them totally. Like, you know, when you take a step back and you realize it was for me, learning all the tactics and how all the control, the manipulation that Watchtower really uses, when you really take a step back and do your research and realize what that all encompasses, it was fascinating and disturbing at the same time for me. And I would encourage you guys to do your research. Yes, like things like, they fit the BITE model perfectly. That's Stephen Hassan. And BITE stands for Behavior, Information, oh, I got a word wrong, sorry, in my notes, okay, never mind. Let me start again. The BITE model, and it stands for Behavior, Information, Thought Control, and Emotional Control. And just when you look in, like, all the micromanaging that they do, like, they like hijack your thinking and take over every aspect of your life. it's it's you know what they do? They want to keep you in the fog, and that's fear, obligation, and guilt. And I think, as a lot of us ex-members know, like myself, one of the biggest, most powerful tools they use is the disfellowshipping and shunning policies. You know, like what will happen to you if you leave, if you ever decide to leave, even if you dare question. You know, I truly believe, and it's sad too, and it's kind of sad. I think there's quite a number that are staying in, and it's mainly because their whole family is in it. So if they leave, they really lose everything. You know, and I get the reasoning. Yes, I get the reasoning that some might have. Like, my family's been in this for several generations and so many years. How can they all be wrong? You know what? All I can say is just, in a kind way, put your pride and emotions aside. You have to stop and think, really question things, do your research outside of their website, I mean. You know, it's the Watchtower, it's like they're, you know, they come to your door and they draw you in with such a pretty message of, you know, paradise earth, no more suffering, no more pain, no more death. You can live forever. You can see your dead loved ones again. But you know what? Like, once you're in, and especially after you're baptized, well, that's when the real control and manipulation really kick in. You know, they work very hard to keep their members in with two of the biggest things they use: the fear of Armageddon and the fear of leaving. And sad to say, it's working on some of the members, but it's good to see that a lot are waking up and leaving too. And I am happy to see that, as fellow XJWs too. You know, I'd like to end this video just by saying, you know, dare to think, dare to question. You know, the Watchtower does not have the truth. In fact, they're not even Christian, as they claim. You know what? The truth is out there. Do your research, question things, take a step back. And for any that are thinking of leaving, I just always want to encourage, there is help, there is support, there are friends for you on the outside, and it's not a horrible life once you're out of the Watchtower. It's not. And how can I say all this and claim all this? Because I was one. Because I was in Jehovah's Witness for 18 years of my life. So I'm an XJW. I know what I'm talking about. And I'm not here to criticize. I'm here to just add my voice and help more get out. And I'm sure many more will. If you like my video and enjoy it, please like and subscribe if you like. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks. Bye-bye.